Welcome back to the Meaning of Life podcast. I'm Matthew. Think about those moments when you feel utterly stuck, banging your head against a wall that just won't budge. Maybe it's a difficult relationship, a stalled career, or even just a stubborn belief you can't shake. That feeling of being trapped often stems from our relentless need to control outcomes, to force reality into a shape it resists. In fact, studies show that individuals with a high need for control often report higher levels of stress and anxiety. Today, we're going to explore the profound power that comes from not tightening our grip, but from the often counterintuitive act of letting go. And speaking of navigating difficult feelings, we often hear from you, our listeners, about the challenges you face. We received a thoughtful email from listener Stephen, who wrote about struggling with anxiety. He said, "I spend so much time worrying about things that might happen, trying to plan for every possible outcome. It's exhausting, but I don't know how to stop." Stephen, your experience perfectly illustrates the trap of the illusion of control. Research indicates that up to 85% of what we worry about never actually happens. That mental energy spent on what ifs is a significant drain on our present moment and our well-being. The first step, as we'll explore, is often recognizing the futility of trying to control the uncontrollable. This leads us to a broader understanding of why we cling to this need for control. Our obsession with control is deeply ingrained. It whispers promises of security and predictability in a world that is inherently uncertain. We meticulously plan, we strategize, we try to anticipate every possible curveball. But life has a funny way of laughing at our carefully laid plans. Consider the entrepreneur who pours their heart and soul into a venture, only for market forces beyond their influence to dictate its fate. Studies in small business success show that over 90% of startups fail, often due to factors entirely outside the founder's direct control. The frustration in these scenarios isn't just about unmet expectations. It's a visceral clash with the limits of our will. The energy we expend in this struggle is significant. It's mental clutter, emotional drain, a constant state of low-grade anxiety. Imagine trying to swim upstream with all your might while the current relentlessly pushes you back. You exhaust yourself, make little progress, and miss the beauty of the riverbanks flowing by. In fact, research suggests that chronic worrying can consume up to 40% of our daily mental energy. True strength, then, isn't about brute force, but about understanding the currents, learning to navigate them, and conserving your energy for when you can truly steer. This concept of understanding what we can and cannot control isn't new. The life of Epictetus offers a stark and powerful illustration of this. Stripped of his freedom and subjected to the whims of another, he faced a reality utterly devoid of external control. He didn't succumb to bitterness or despair. Instead, he turned his attention inward, meticulously cultivating the only domain that remained his own mind. He understood that while he couldn't control his circumstances, he held absolute authority over his thoughts, his judgments, and his responses. This wasn't a passive resignation of fate. It was an active and courageous assertion of his inner sovereignty. By releasing the futile desire to control his physical world, he discovered a profound and unshakable inner freedom, a power that transcended his physical chains, and continues to inspire centuries later. His legacy isn't one of overcoming external control, but of mastering his internal world in its absence. And this brings us to a key takeaway for today. Our message for today is this: let go of the shore to discover the ocean. Once again, let go of the shore to discover the ocean. Often, our attempts to rigidly control our circumstances keep us tethered and prevent us from experiencing the vastness of life's possibilities. And your helpful tip for the week is this: identify one small area in your life where you're currently trying to exert excessive control. Take a conscious step back and allow things to unfold without your forceful intervention. Observe what happens and notice any feelings of resistance or liberation that arise. So take a moment to honestly assess where you might be clinging too tightly. What situations or relationships are causing you undue stress because you're trying to force a particular outcome? What small act of surrender could you experiment with this week? Remember, the statistics show the energy we waste on the uncontrollable is significant. The invitation here isn't to become apathetic or disengaged, but to recognize the wisdom in discerning what truly lies within your power, and the liberation that comes from releasing the rest. True strength isn't always about holding on. Sometimes it's about the courage to open your hand and trust the flow. And don't forget to follow the Meaning of Life podcast exclusively on Spotify. And if you got thoughts or questions, email me at tmolpodcast@yahoo.com. Once again, that's tmolpodcast@yahoo.com. I'm Matthew, and this is the Meaning of Life podcast. Until next time, keep questioning, especially yourself.